to cover off Reservations Basic. So when you first log into RoomKey, you're going to see in the lower left-hand corner your login name. So currently I'm logged in under RSI Admin. In the upper right-hand corner, we can see that I'm currently on in-house. If I click on Arrivals, I would then be seeing my arrivals for that day. This is where we do our check-ins from. If I go to my departures, that would show my departures for the day. That's where I would do my check-outs. Reservations. Now, on the reservation screen, we only show reservations for the next 30 days on this screen. That does not mean that you can't search for someone in the future. So say we had a guest that had a reservation in a year from now, I would use the search function. And we're going to come back to these two searches throughout the session. The main one used is our advanced search. Typically, people are either searching by the guest last name or by the guest res ID. Res ID is really just our confirmation number. But again, we'll be coming back to this. Checked out reservations will show, again, the past 30 days worth of checkouts. But again, you can use the search function to go back further than that. As long as you're using RoomKey, you can go back. No-shows must be dealt with every single day. We'll talk about no-shows when we get to the night audit training, because some properties do deal with no-shows in different ways. Canceled reservations, so within a 30-day period, but again, the search will work for that. Waitlist reservations, and then we have the tape chart. Now, the tape chart is a visual representation of the hotel. Here I can see my room numbers and my room types going down here. Okay, if I right-click anywhere on the tape chart, I'm going to get a legend. And here I can see that Terry Flynn is blue. That tells me they're in-house. Rhonda Tyler is gray. Madeline Thompson is gray, so they are checked out reservations, and so on. The main thing I want to say about the tape chart is not to be used as availability. This will only show you where reservations are assigned to room numbers. And as well, group block does not show up on the tape chart. For true availability of a room, we always refer to our inventory calendar. So under Operations, Inventory Calendar, the shortcut key for that is F12. Okay, in my fake hotel, I have 3 room types. I have my standard room, my deluxe room, my loft room. We can see that my standard room sleeps 5 people, 3 for my deluxe, 7 for my loft. Now this average rate, we never want to quote this average rate. This is just to give you a general idea of what the rate would be at any given time, because if I go to a different period, that rate could very well change. So see, when I get up to May 19th, the rate has changed. Right, so that is affected by group block, by reservations that are made, by if you have different rates for weekdays as opposed to weekends. So again, we don't quote this rate. It's there to give us a general idea of pricing on room. Inventory, so this is physically how many rooms we have. And then as well, this is my availability for the day. Okay, down below we have our totals here. And we can jump to any day by clicking on the date drop-down and going to a future date. Or we have the shortcut to come back to today. Okay, now when making a reservation, from any screen that you're on, so if I'm on in-house, we have walk-in new res. If I'm on arrivals, we have walk-in new res. So any screen that we're on, we're always going to have these 2 buttons. So I'm going to click on New Reservation. Move this over here. There we go. So the first thing we need to determine is the type of client that the guest is. So the question we may ask is, what is the purpose of your trip, or what brings you to the hotel? So we're trying to figure out, are they a leisure guest? Are they a corporate guest? Are they with a group? So what type of client are they? So if they just say, I'm just coming up on the weekend with my husband or wife, then obviously they're going to be leisure or transient. Now, your client types may be different than the ones here. Your managers will explain to you how each should be used. The room charge code here, I have two. I have room charge. I have room charge tax exempt. You may or may not have this at your property as well, but there's obviously if the guest is tax exempt, I'm going to choose my tax exempt code. If you need these codes, tax exempt codes, and they're not in your room key shell, please contact your trainer directly about getting a tax exempt room charge code in there for you. Okay, I'm then going to change my arrival date to Friday. I'm going to put in 3 nights. Or I can even change the departure date, and that will affect the number of nights. So you can go either way on that. The checkout time, so my default checkout time is 11 o'clock. Now when you guys filled out the property prep documents, we would have put this default checkout time in your system. If we were going to give a late checkout, say of 2 p.m., I would do 1400, so this is a military time. I would then ask the number of adults and number of children. Now notice that we're still seeing the availability for April 21st today. You'll also notice that the refresh button is flashing. Once we load in all these, once we get through all these questions up top, we then want to click refresh. This will load in the parameters that this guest is looking for. Now if I change the number of adults, so say I go down to 1, and I try to continue, room key is going to say, no, you have to refresh to proceed. Because based on the number of adults, based on the dates, based on the type of client that they are, the price could be very different. So room key will always want to refresh that. Okay, we now have the room types. Now, of course, your room types are different to mine. Now, if I right-click on a room type, I'm going to get the full description. Again, on the property prep documents, if you guys filled out the description, we will put that in for you. For those of you that are using eRes, our online booking engine, this is also the description that the guest is going to see online when they go to make a booking. To make that disappear, I just move the mouse away, and I can go on to my deluxe room, loft, and so on. Okay, we're going to start by doing a booking for a standard room. I'm going to click the little plus symbol beside rate. Here I have my best available rate at the top. Now you'll notice that the average rate is 106.67 and the first night is 110. If your average rate is different than your first night, you know that there is a rate change. Now your manager will direct you on this, but most times as a best practice, we do not quote average rate. We quote the rate per day. So I would tell the guest the rate is 110 the first night, 110 the second night, 100 for the third night. If they were to ask for a AAA rate, okay, ARP or packages we have, I'm going to go with my best available rate on this one. So I check the box beside best available rate. If your hotel assigns the rooms at the time of making a booking, I would click on Enable Assignment, and I would choose the room. Now you'll notice that room 102 is green, room 104 is red. Green denotes housekeeping status of clean and inspected. Red means that it is currently dirty. We'll be doing a full session on housekeeping down the road, so not to worry. So in this case, I'm not going to pre-assign rooms. Okay. I'm then going to check the box on the book column beside the room type. A couple of things happen. Notice that everything up top grayed out. Okay. You'll also notice that we get the rate. Now the rate, 320, it's not really the rate. It's 110 plus 110 plus 100. So it's really the total room revenue for the whole stay. We get the taxes and the total here. Okay. So if I needed to make any changes, say I needed to change the number of adults or number of nights, I would have to unbook and make the change. Okay. So this kind of locks us in to make this booking with these parameters. Next, I'm going to go to the guest info screen. We have the title here. This is not required. First name is required. Now, I'm going to be putting 421 at the end of my name. It denotes nothing for our system. This is just, I've used Shane McPhail probably 100 times on different webinars. This just lets me know the right Shane McPhail to bring up in a future example I'll be showing you today. If you put in a zip code from the US or a postal code from Canada, it is going to fill out city, country, and state. Okay, anywhere else in the world, so say we went to the UK, we then still have all the cities, and if we went to Australia, we have all the territories or provinces there. It's just the autofill, we have the database for US and Canada only. Okay, email we're going to put in. Okay, loyalty number would be for any chain hotels that have a loyalty card program. You can put the number in here. Accept general email and opt-in marketing campaigns. This will become a filter in our guest profile area. So if your hotel sends out newsletters or special offers, you can ask someone if you would like you could ask them if they want to be put on your mailing list. We do find that most hotels will automatically put the people on the mailing list and then say they call back and say, hey, take me off your mailing list. That's the point that I would come back and uncheck this on their profile. If I want to make the guest a VIP, I would tick off VIP and then put in the reason. So mayor of town, the owner's son, the owner's family, whatever it may be. So I'm going to uncheck VIP. I'm not going to make myself a VIP. Source of business. The question that we ask is, how did you hear about our hotel? So here I read about you in the AAA book. I saw your billboard. Learned about you from the local tourism bureau. Now this list is customizable, and your trainer may have already worked with you directly on this. I will be showing you this area as well. Okay, the guest note gets tied to the guest profile. So every single guest that you enter into the system will automatically have a guest profile created for them. It's basically guest history. So you don't really need to ask a question, but if the guest happens to say, can you make sure I'm in a quiet room? Or they say, can I have a nice view? Or maybe they say, I have mobility issues, please make sure I'm on a low floor. Right? So any specific request, or likes room 101, right? Anything like that. Now this note, the reservation note, is something specific to this reservation. So let's say that a package arrived for me. So package on back counter for guest. This will pop up on the screen as the guest is checking in. So it's really a reminder for the front desk agent. Your guests do not see either one of these notes. The guest note comes up as we're assigning rooms, whereas the res note really has to do with check-in and reminding the res agent of something. Okay, I'm going to go to card type. We're going to do a Visa. I'm going to give you guys a fake credit card, so 4 and 12 twos. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Expiration date just has to be greater than today. I'm going to put the guest name. At this point, we are done a basic reservation. I'm going to click OK in the lower right-hand corner to complete. When I complete the reservation, notice it brought me automatically to the reservation screen, and the little black arrow is beside Shane 421 McPhail. Now that fake credit card, the 4 and 12 twos, this is for all the properties on the line, brand new properties that are still in play mode. So what we're giving you is a couple of weeks to be in play mode where you can make fake reservations, check people in, check people out, do adjustments, reversals, all that stuff to learn the system. At some point, we're going to do a system wipe. The system wipe will wipe out all these fake reservations and transactions. It will not wipe out any of your setup stuff, so like rate plans, client types, corporate accounts, city ledger accounts. Okay, so this is really your time to get in there and play and get used to the system. So let's look at the fields here. This two-headed column is the Shares tab, and we'll talk about shares down the road. The little note that's here, if I double-click on it, this is the Res note, package on back counter for guests. We can also add additional notes in here. So this is a little shortcut. You can either double-click on the note, or you can right-click anywhere on that line for Shane McPhail and do Show Notes, exact same thing. Okay, the room number, if we had assigned it, the room type, guest name, date in, date out, the res ID, so that's our confirmation number. Again, this is the average rate, so be careful of that. Rate plan, number of adults, number of children. Down below, we have some more information, like their source of business. Okay. Their guest note we can see here. Now, guaranteed to credit card. I'm going to talk about the other guarantee types today. When we're done a reservation, we're going to go up top and click the confirmation printer. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so here I would say, Mr. McPhail, I have you arriving on April 25th, a Friday, staying for 3 nights, checking out Monday, April 28th. I have 1 adult, no children in the room. Your total charges with tax will be $355.20. Should you need to cancel your reservation, please let us know by, and then whatever your cancellation policy is. Again, this note down below is customizable. We would have put this on based on the property prep document that you filled out. If your hotel has different policies, so maybe in the low season you have a 24-hour cancellation, or sorry, a 72-hour cancellation, and then 24 in another season, or you have a different policy based on the type of guest they are, whether it's group, whether it's a package, whether it's a regular guest, or even based on rate plans. So say you required a deposit on an advanced purchase rate. Please talk to your trainer directly about how do we handle policies. There are 5 different options. 1 based on room type, 1 based on rate plan, 1 based on client type, time of the so time of the year and whatnot, and then overall property. If you only filled out 1 on your property prep document, that's all we're going to have in here. I would then say to the guest, Mr. McPhail, your confirmation number is 1523. Would you like a copy of the confirmation? If I go up top and click the little printer in the upper left-hand corner, we could print that out and mail it. If we want to email it, I click on this X for close preview. This is when RoomKey will ask me if I would like to send the confirmation out. Would you like to email this confirmation to the guest? And I can even click on Browse and send another attachment. So whether it be directions from the airport, local activities, anything else I would like to send them. Okay, I'm going to click yes, and that will go through. Now, RoomKey does not send out email confirmations. RoomKey accesses your email server and sends it out from there. So again, I am going to show you where you can go and put your settings in, and the email settings will need to be set up on every computer that you want to send out email confirmations from. So if you have 3 front desk computers and a manager computer in the back, you'll need to set this one setting up on 4 computers, but you only need to do it once. I'm going to say no, and then we'll carry on here. Okay, I'm going to go to New Reservation. Again, I'm going to move this over. Again, we're going to do this for a leisure guest arriving on Friday. We're going to do 3 nights. We'll do 2 adults. Click refresh. I'm going to do a standard room. Now, under our rates here, I have 110, 110, 100. Let's say the guest says to me, well, last time I paid $95. That's all I want to pay for all 3 nights. So for whatever reason, we're going to agree. We have 2 options at this point. I can either do a manual rate. So if I go to the average rate column and fill out 95, check the little box beside manual, that will fill out the $95 rate straight across. Now, the only issue with manual rate is we don't know what that manual rate represents. Does it represent the best available, AAA, ARP? Maybe we feel it doesn't represent any because it's not that dollar amount. So the other option, if we want to keep our tracking, if I click on Enable Rate Overriding, I can then go to the best available rate, and again, I can put in 95 in the average rate, and that will change the best available rate. Now, it will only change it for this particular reservation. Okay, it's not going to change on other bookings. Okay, I'm going to click on Book. Again, we're going to go to Guest Info. Okay, source of business. Again, how did you hear about our hotel? Okay, so I saw your Facebook. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to put a email address in this time. Again, the fake credit card is 4 and 12 twos for the Visa. And yes, typically credit cards do have 16 characters. This is just a fake one that we have embedded into our system. Now, you'll notice that we have a main address and we have a second address. Notice when I switched over to second address, nothing down below changed. Okay, so this second address is not for a second person in the room. A second person is handled on the Guest Share tab, and we'll talk about this today, a little bit later today. This second address is specifically for Alan Douglas, that he has a second address. Okay, and then we can use address 2 as default if we were to put in a second address. Okay, we put this in for a hotel 1.5 years ago. They had a logis that had 2 addresses. So it's up to you if you guys need this data. Okay, next we have a custom data area. Again, we put this in for a hotel, I believe about 10 years ago. They want to put some custom data fields about their clients. So an example, I had one hotel that they had a lot of pets there, so they put in a custom field, pet name. Okay. So if we're not asking a question here, and again, wait till we get to services and notes and whatnot, I'll be showing you more functions, you may want to use the custom data area. So if there's a custom data that you would like, please let your trainer know directly and they can help you with that. Okay. I'm going to skip over services for a moment, go to travel agent. So if a travel agent is calling the hotel directly, I can click on the little drop-down and choose that travel agent. Or I can click on the little binoculars here, click on add, and I can put in a new travel agent. Okay. Now, the only thing with the IATA number here, you need to put this in twice. It's a programming thing. So every bona fide travel agent should have an IATA number. So we're going to do John's Travel. My contact is John Fry. And standard commission is typically 10%, but maybe you have a company that you give 12% to. Okay, I'm going to click Post, close out, and now we have John's Travel connected to this booking. You'll see we have an override commission. So say for this specific reservation, we want to do 11%, or maybe we want to bring it down to 8%. We also have additional travel agents. So let's say that we had 2 travel agents that we're going to split the commission. You can add that second travel agent on. For those of you who are getting the GDS interface with us, any of the travel agents that are booked through GDS, whether it be through Genres, iHotelier, Sabre, Synexis, it will flow into RoomKey. Okay. I'm going to click OK. We're now complete on the booking. I'm going to go to our confirmation printer up top. So Mr. Douglas arriving, blah, 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 and reconfirm the details of the booking. Again, if I click on the little print here, I can print it out, or if I click on the X. Now notice that it did not ask me if I want to email out the confirmation. RoomKey is smart enough to realize there is no email address, all right? Whereas for the Shane McPhail booking, when I go to confirmation and close, it does ask me because we do have an email on file for the guest. Okay, we're going to make another new reservation. So let's say that someone called up and they would like 2 rooms. We don't actually have a field here where you can book 2 rooms at one time, but we certainly do have a shortcut. So what we would do is make the first booking. Again, client type. So what is the purpose of your trip? Coming up on the weekend with my family, they're going to be a leisure guest. They're arriving on Friday, staying for 3 nights. How many adults in each room? 2. Okay, and we're going to book 2 standard rooms. We're going to give them the best available rate. Now, because they want 2 rooms right next to one another, maybe it's a family and it's important that they have a connecting door, I'm going to go through and I know that room 113 and 115 have a connecting door. Okay, so I'm going to do 113. We're going to book. Go to guest info. Okay, we're going to make Gerard a VIP, and we'll say friends of owner. Okay, source of business, again, how did you hear about our hotel? Okay, I'm going to click OK. Now notice that Gerard is highlighted green here. That green means that he is a VIP guest. You'll also notice that the room number is assigned here. So now I'm going to right-click on that line for Gerard Butler. I'm going to do New Res Add-on. New Res Add-on is basically copy. Okay. So again, this guest wanted 2 rooms, right? So I click New Res Add-on. What RoomKey will do is it will keep it for the same client type, same number of nights, same number of adults and children, same room type, and same rate. Now you could go to a different room type. So maybe they want a suite in the standard room. You could always do that. In this case, we're going to do the same room type. We're going to go to room 115. We're going to book. And if I go to guest info, again, everything is filled out here for us. And as well, this is a VIP reservation. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is, a lot of times when we see 2 reservations with the same name and everything is exactly the same, we sometimes think this is a dupe. So I'm going to go over to the note area. I'm going to double click. And here I'm going to say room 1 of 2. Or maybe holding multiple rooms. Again, whatever makes sense to you guys at the hotel. Okay, and then room 2 of 2. Use these notes to your advantage. Again, it pops up on the screen as the guest is checking in as a reminder. Okay, we're going to make another new reservation. Okay, we're going to have the guest, a leisure guest arriving on Friday for 1 night, 2 adults. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to do 3 nights. Okay, we'll say that we quoted the 110, 110, 100, and the guest says, do you have a AAA rate? Indeed I do, 99, 99, and 90. Again, your rate plans may differ be different than the ones I have here. We would then ask the guest name. Now, for the sake of time today, I'm not going to fill out a full address here. We get the idea of what we're supposed to do here. Now, let's say that this guest wanted to pay cash. Okay, so if I try to complete the reservation by clicking OK, RoomKey will say reservation doesn't have a valid form of payment, cannot be guaranteed. So this becomes a non-guaranteed booking. To make a non-guaranteed booking, I'm going to uncheck the guaranteed checkbox in the upper right-hand corner. I'm also going to put a res note, guest paying cash upon arrival, okayed as per Mr. Tingley, my GM. Okay, so I click OK. Now the reservation is still going to take the room out of inventory, but it is a non-guaranteed reservation. So some hotels have 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. holds. So here for Shane McPhail, see where it says guaranteed to credit card. For Nancy Hunter, it's a non-guaranteed reservation. Okay, so a guest calls up, wants to make a new reservation, and they would like to come in on July the 7th, staying for 2 nights, 2 adults. Click refresh. I go to my rates. So our rate is $150 at that time. I'm going to book the room. I'm going to go to guest info. And as I ask the guest information, the guest says, well, I've actually stayed with you before. So here on the right-hand side, we have the little binoculars and a search. I'm going to type in, I'm just going to put in MCP. When I search for MCP, my name does not come up. You have to have the first few characters correct. Okay? And I'm going to put Shane 421 here. So this was why I used that number, just because, again, see how many Shane McPhails I have here. So I click search. There's the Shane McPhail I'm looking for. So now I would say to the guest, what is your address? So 321 Dare Street, Lower Sackville. I can then click OK, and it will give me more pieces of information. So you want to confirm on, a few pieces. Now the source of business this time, so maybe the first time he heard about us was from Facebook, but the second time he's a repeat guest. Also notice that the guest notes turned into a button. Click to view guest notes. So I'm going to click there, and there I can see that note that I put in the first time, likes quiet note. So again, guest notes are more a note about that client that you want to save and know for future bookings. As far as credit card goes, you will want to ask the credit card every time the guest makes a booking. For those of you who are getting the Shift 4 interface, this number is actually going to get tokenized where you'll only be able to see the last 4 digits the first time that you swipe a credit card through. And it's just a more secure way of storing credit cards in the system, and it satisfies the PCI compliancy. Okay, but we do want to reconfirm on the credit card. I'm going to click OK. Now that booking now shows up on the reservation screen for July. I can click the confirmation and reiterate the details of the confirmation and send it to him. Now, I'm going to go over to the in-house screen for a moment and come back to reservation screen. See the little yellow diamond here? That means that we're organized right now by date in. I can change that by clicking on the column header. So now that we're doing it by name, if I go down to McPhail, notice I can see the Shane McPhail reservation for April, but not the one for July. Again, remember, we can only see the next 30 days worth of bookings on this screen. So to find a booking, I'm going to go to Search, Advanced Search, type in McPhail, Shane 421, and click Search. and now I can see the booking for July 27th. Okay. The other search we have, this is our older search. If I type in MacPhail and click search, Roomkey will want me to define the reservation status. So I need to know, is this a reservation? Is this a checked out reservation, a canceled reservation, no-show, in-house, waitlist? So I know this time that it's a reservation. So now when I click search, there I can see the Shane 421 for July 7th. So why the advanced search is sometimes a little bit better. One, just a side note here, it will always save the last search that you did on advanced search. So you can click clear to start over. Why I like the advanced search. If I search for Shane MacPhail, notice down at the bottom it says status any. So I don't need to define, is it a reservation or is it canceled? The example I'll give you is, let's say I call up make a reservation. Then my wife calls up, cancels, doesn't tell me. I call back and say, hey, I need to change my booking to 3 nights. No one can find it because it's canceled. So sometimes searching by any is just a safer way. Now I'm going to go down to MacPhail, the last name, and click search. And now what we'll see is we have a whole bunch of Shane MacPhails. Notice that the blue here means checked out. X means canceled. Green is a future reservation. And here now the status becomes more like a filter. So show me all just reservations for Shane MacPhail, or for MacPhail rather. Show me all checked out for past dates for MacPhail. Okay, so it more acts as a filter when we start using it over here. Okay, so let's say that I get a phone call. And let's say it is from Shane MacPhail. And he would like to change his booking. So I search for Shane MacPhail, and I say, Mr. MacPhail, I have 2 bookings for you, one on the 25th and one on the 7th of July. Which one will you be changing? And he says the one for April. Right down below we have, I can either click OK, and that will bring me to that reservation, or right from the advanced search screen, I can click on that booking and click Modify down below. Okay, when I click Modify, now let's say they want to bring this reservation down to 1 night. Notice how the number of nights is grayed out. So again, to make a change, I need to unbook by unchecking that book checkbox. Now I can change it down to 1 night. If I try to rebook, Roomkey is going to say, no, you have to refresh. And why that's important is we always want to double check the rate after we click refresh. Because one, let's say that we're extending the rate for 1 more night. Well, what if the price goes higher? We want to make sure we tell the person that. Now, we're shrinking the dates down. What if I had a 2-night minimum length of stay on the best available rate? Now I would not even be seeing that rate. It wouldn't be available to them. Again, the parameters at your hotel are going to be set differently, right? So clicking refresh and double checking the rate is very important. I'm going to rebook, click OK, and I would send the guest a confirmation on this again. Okay, let's go make a new booking. And I'm going to make this for today for 2 nights. Do best available. Okay, so Lara's making a reservation, and she tells us that she is bringing her dog with her. So we charge $10 per day at my hotel. So I'm going to go up to post charges. And the only option I have is to charge a guest a cancellation fee. The thing is, you cannot charge something to a guest until they arrive at the hotel. It does not make sense on the accounting side. So if we charge for pets and the guest lets us know they're bringing a pet at time of making a reservation, we need to be able to schedule a charge to happen. The way we do this, if I go to System Configuration, Guest Services, this is where I would add a guest service. Now let's pretend I have none. I'm going to click Add. The code that we have here, it's not really a code. This is what shows up on the guest confirmation. The name, this is what shows up on the guest bill. So really you could do it as the same. The description, this is just an internal description. It only shows up on this screen only. But again, pet fee is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, I would make it repeatable per day or per week per month or just as a stay, right? So overall stay. But in this case, daily. We're going to apply to room. Now, if I choose apply to person, see how I have adults and children. The example I'll give you is sometimes people will do kayak rentals. So see up top how I have kayak rental child. So I could put in the kayak rental price for a child and then a kayak rental price for adults. Or person any, it's the same price. But in this case, it's a room charge, overall room. We are going to make this transaction-based, and I'm going to base it on the transaction code, pet fee. Now, the transaction codes in the system, when you filled out the property prep document, we gave you a place to put in your transaction codes, and your trainer would have built your shell and added all these transaction codes. If we missed any or you did not fill it out, please let your trainer know directly which ones you would like added, and please be sure to indicate which revenue accounts that you want it to touch on the GL account side, and if it has taxes. If you have more questions on that, again, talk to your trainer directly about that. Very important that we get all the transaction codes in there that you guys need for Go Live. Okay, so my pet fee is $10 per day, and I would click Post. I'm not going to click Post because I actually already have this one. Okay. Now there is another type of guest service, and this is an informational guest service. So here I have the pet fee that's based on pet fee transaction code with a rate of $10. I have a rollaway that is also repeated daily, and that is $10 per day. But then notice this crib pack and play. I'm going to edit. We have it repeating daily per room, but it is not transaction-based. And that's because this is what we call an informational guest service. So we just want to know that this guest had requested a crib, and we're going to get this crib put in the room either before they arrive or at least save one for them. Okay. Now you'll also notice on crib pack and play, rollaway, and pet fee, notice we have this grouping, housekeeping. Where the grouping comes from, if I go over to Service Groupings tab up top, we can create our own. So if I click Add, I would have created this one, Housekeeping. And this will become a filter on a report. And you'll see this throughout the training. So anything that affects housekeeping, I want to show up on one report, right? Then I have another one that is kayak, right? So if I go back to my kayak, so here I have kayak rental, adult kayak rental, child, kayak full day. That's all under the grouping of kayak, so I can run reports specifically on that. Okay. You'll also notice we have vendors. Now a vendor, so the kayaks that we rent out to our clients, we don't actually own them. It is Kyle Kayak Rentals that owns them. And so here I just have their contact information, Any notes you want to put about it. This is an internal note, only shows up on this screen only. So here, Kyle will deliver the kayaks in the morning. Usually will give us 2 extra for last minute rentals. Okay, so just anything you want to put about that company, and you can attach that as well. And you can run a report just based on vendors, so you can send it to them so they know how many, if you need extra kayaks or whatever. So now, going back to the Lara Sampson reservation, I'm going to change the reservation. Okay, I'm going to go to the Services tab, and there we can see all our services. Now the grouping that I talked about also acts as a filter here. So say I go to housekeeping, now I only see the housekeeping stuff. If I go to kayak, I only see the kayak stuff. So not only on a report, but also here as a filter. In this case, if you have it on all, if you don't have a lot, it's not a big deal. So here I can add in a pet fee. So that's $10 per day. So see how it's doing service charge 20 is 1 per day. If they had 2 pets and we charge for both, I can bring another one over. Okay? Can also do a rollaway. And then the crib, when I bring it over, this is free, right? Other ones I have in here, extra towels for housekeeping to know, foam pillow or hypoallergenic duvet. So maybe we have feather pillows and feather duvets in our hotel. So if we have anyone with an allergy, housekeeping will switch those out. You could even do, say they need a rollaway only for night 1, but not the second night for whatever reason. You can take that out on the second night. Say they didn't like the price for the rollaway, they felt we really shouldn't be charged for it, you can override that to 0, or maybe even do it for $5, so half price. Okay, I'm going to click OK to complete the booking. And now when I go to the confirmation printer, see under other charges, it adds up to $60. And then here we can see the line by line. So pet fee 40, rollaway 20, crib, pack and play, and so on. Okay, so now let's say we get a phone call from Shane McPhail. So I clear the last search I did, which just happens to be Shane McPhail, but did want to show you that. Shane 421 McPhail. Click search. And Mr. McPhail says he would like to cancel his reservation coming in July. Okay, so I click on Shane McPhail. I'm going to go down below. I'm going to click on cancel. Now these reasons here, we're going to ask the guest, why are they canceling? Okay, this list is customizable. Again, I'm going to show you guys where to do this. This will show up on a report, okay, at the end of the day or end of the month for month-end stats. So managers, you can define it. If you don't care about this statistic, you at least have to put in 1. So you would put in 1 change of plans, just an all encompassing one. Okay, but if they said, well, we have family emergencies, they're staying at the Marriott, unhappy with hotel, whatever may be the reason, I'm just going to put change of plans. Now notice that the cancel and charge button is grayed out, right? And that's because this is well outside my 24-hour cancellation policy. So in this case, I'm just going to click cancel res. Do you want to print the cancellation confirmation? So we have a confirmation for cancellations as well that is different than the regular one. So I'm going to say yes. So notice that the number we give is even different, right? We just like to give a different number to the guest in the original res ID. And then we also show down below that we're not charging. And then here, the note, you can customize the note that comes on here. So hope you will get another opportunity to stay with us in the future. Again, I'm going to show you where to do that. Okay, and you can email out the cancellation confirmation as well. So now let's say we get a phone call from a guest. And the phone call is from Lara Sampson. So I'm going to go into search, advanced search, We're going to clear the last search I did. Put in the last name, Simpson. And there's Lara. Lara's arriving today. So now when I go to cancel, notice that the cancel and charge is now available. Or we still have available cancel res. So if you want to cancel, so say the guest calls up, they said they had death in the family and we're not going to charge, then by all means we can cancel res. But if we are going to charge, so let's say, yeah, we decide to stay at the Marriott down the road. That's fine, but I'm still going to charge you because we held that room for you. Okay, so I'm going to click on cancel and charge. And at that point, we're going to get the payment window. Here I have my room charge plus tax, $111. So my cancellation policy is 1 night's room and tax. Most hotels we find are 1 night's room and tax. Some will do 50%, 100%. Again, whatever you put on your property prep document is what we have put in the system for you. So I would go over to my credit card machine. I would type in the number, type in the amount. I would get an authorization code. I would put it in here. For those of you who are getting the Shift4 or Sage payment interface, you would click OK Exit. You would then get the second window, the Shift4 or Sage payment interface. Click Post, and it would process the credit card through. For those of you who are getting that interface, you will have direct training with your trainer or someone from support on how to use Shift4 or Sage payment with RoomKey. But otherwise, if you're not getting that, put in the authorization, we click OK Exit. Do you want to print the cancellation confirmation? Yes. Okay, and here it shows, yes, we actually did charge you 1 night's room and tax on here for canceling within our 24-hour cancellation policy. Okay, so now let's go to make a new reservation. Now, next session, I'm going to talk more about corporate bookings. So on Wednesday's webinar, it is Reservations Advanced. I'm going to talk about a corporate booking. So see how under leisure, there's nothing there. But if I say to the guest, what is the purpose of your trip or what brings you to the hotel, they're then going to be a corporate client if they say, well, I'm with such and such a company. So they say they're with Weyerhaeuser, perhaps. There's Weyerhaeuser and so on. Okay. But what I am going to cover now is third-party OTAs, online travel agents. So for those of you who are getting a GDS interface with us, and if you are participating in the net rate programs with any of the third-party OTAs, this is how we recommend a best practice to set it up. So step 1, and your trainer may have already discussed this with you, setting up a client type specifically for third parties. So here I've set up OTA net. You may call it third party net. So you click new, third party net or OTA net. Again, whatever terminology works for you and your staff. Okay, the function is going to be turned to corporate. Again, don't get hung up on that term corporate. It's really any company that we're dealing with. And I'm going to click on hide rate. The hide rate will actually hide this rate on the confirmation. Not that any OTA nets are going to be getting a confirmation because they'll be getting that directly from Expedia, Travelocity, Hotwire. Your booking is through that company, with that company. So we're hiding the rate also on the registration card though. And again, we'll see this when we do our front office training starting on Friday's webinar and then the Tuesday following. Again, I already have one of these created, OTA net. We would then create the company over in the corporate area, and I went through this on our last webinar on Friday. So for the booking, when it comes through, it will have OTA net. It would have the Let's do Hotwire. We'll have them arriving on the 25th for 3 nights. And here we have the Hotwire net rate. When these reservations will flow through, if you're getting the interface with us, it will flow through with a one-time use virtual credit card. So this is another fake credit card we have embedded into our system, 5290 and 12 ones. And then the wording, I'm not exactly sure what it will say, but it'll be very obvious that it's Hotwire's virtual card. Okay. If you guys are not getting the interface with us and just doing it manually, again, this is how we would put it in, right? OTA Net, Hotwire, Expedia, Travelocity, whatever we have. Okay, put in the virtual card, click OK. And again, there's no confirmation to send out to Hotwire on that. Okay. Even if we did print out a confirmation, that hide rate function is hiding the rate here on the booking. Okay, so a few things for configuration. If I go to System Configuration, Property, okay, I'm going to go to our source of business. So again, the question that comes up here is, how did you hear about our hotel? Now we have a set of 7, I believe, in here that are standard. If you don't like them, if you're not going to use the ones that we have as standard, delete them out and start your own list. To add one, I click Add on the right-hand side. You do not put an ID in. Roomkey will do that for you. So under the code, so say I did billboard, so I do BB, and then billboard. And then when you click Post, Roomkey will then put in alphabetical order, and it will assign an ID to it. The ID is just used on the programming side, so you don't need to worry about it. If you do not like alphabetical order, you can then change the order by saying, okay, well, I want Facebook to be first, billboard to be second, tourism bureau to be third. You can change the sort order. I will say that alphabetical seems to be the most common used here. Okay. If I go to the Registry tab, you'll notice here I have my Gmail settings in here. So something I want to stress again, Roomkey doesn't send out email confirmations. Roomkey accesses your email server and sends it out from there. We use a process of relaying through your server. So for your email server, if there's restrictions, you may have to get us set up as a trusted site to relay through your email server. So the email settings, you're going to have to get them from your ISP provider so you can fill this out. Okay, I'm going to show you a doc in just a moment as well so you can know exactly what you need to ask. Again, very important, this Registry tab, this is the only settings that are like this. It must be set up on each computer that you want to send out email confirmations from. So if you have 4 computers, you'd have to set it up on all 4 computers once. Slight side note, if you are getting the Shift4 interface, that is another one that you would have to set up on each terminal that you want to be able to process credit cards from. But again, for the interface with Shift4, you'll be working directly with someone in my office, most likely Katie, on setting that up on each terminal. Okay, I'm going to go up top. I'm going to go to Confirmation Notes. Under Confirmation Notes, I'm going to modify. This is where I have the thank you for booking with our hotel. We look forward to welcoming you to our property. Now this little macro here, this is if I have a property that has multiple different policies based on either room type, rate plan, time of year, overall hotel, client type. It's going to pull that information in from a different area. So again, if you guys do have multiple policies, please talk to your trainer directly about it. Otherwise, don't even bother with the macro. Just put your cancellation policy right in here. Please note, should you need to cancel within 24 hours, you'll be charged one night's room and tax. Down below this cancellation note, this is not your cancellation policy. This is the note that shows up on the cancellation confirmation. So hope you will get another opportunity to stay with us in the future. If you recall, when we went to cancel that reservation, it asked me for a reason. So here up in the right-hand corner, I have canceled checkout reasons. So by checkout, we mean an early checkout. So if a guest was due to stay for 5 nights, they checked out after 4, RoomKey will ask why. Okay, so here I can add, put in the reason, and then either make it a cancel reason and a checkout reason, or just one or the other, whatever makes sense for what you're putting in. Okay, I'm going to close out of here, and we're going to go over to our website for a moment. So you guys are going to be brought to the meeting screen momentarily. And I will share my whole screen with you in just a moment as I'm bringing up our website. Okay, so on our website, www.roomkeypm.com, in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, we have the support area. I go to support. This is where you guys went to sign up for all the training webinars. If I scroll down to the bottom, we have videos and documents. And just so you know, we are in the process of updating all the webinar videos. We're actually going to be embedding YouTube links right on our website for these. But we do have documents, and one of the ones I'm going to point you to is the RoomKey reservation documents and video. If I click the little plus symbol there, sorry, give me 1 second, there we go. We have the reservation training manual. Now this is 130 pages long. The reason it's so long is we give screenshots on everything. Okay, so our documents do get quite long with the screenshots and the examples that we give. Okay, the nice thing is it does have a good table of contents that will point you to each area. You can also go to the top to get instant answers for your room key questions. So how to make a reservation. So how to create a reservation for a transient guest, a walk-in, how to modify, change a reservation. If you click here, then it gives you the answer just directly for that booking. You'll also find this within RoomKey. If you go up to the Help menu and go to RoomKey Smart Support, this is also embedded right in here. Okay. Now on this page as well, I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom. I can go to Introducing RoomKey. Under Introducing RoomKey, we have this one here, how to set up RoomKey to send email confirmations. So this is where you want to go to get this doc so you know what you're asking your ISP for. So if I scroll down to the bottom, talk about if you have Outlook, you can go and find these settings. And that's about each tab, or sorry, each piece of information that we're going to need to embed. Okay? If after putting this all in, if you do a test booking and it does not go through, 99% of the time the error message that you're going to get, we're just relaying whatever it says from your email server. But if you get an error message and you can't send out a confirmation, let your trainer know directly so we can help you with that and figure out what is going on. Okay, but again, a lot of times it's coming from your email server, which we really have no control over, but we might be able to at least decipher the error message and help you out with that. Okay, so that is it for today's session. I am going to give some time for questions, so if you guys want to go to that question answer area, you can certainly type that in. For all the brand new hotels online, remember that you are in play mode right now. We would like to see at least 5-10 reservations made by each agent at the front desk by yourself, so we know that you're practicing on the system. If your trainer goes in and sees no reservations being made, no playing going on, it does raise a red flag for us, and they'll reach out to you and figure out the plan on how you're looking at training the staff and using the system. Okay, on Wednesday, we're going to be covering off the reservation advanced side. We'll be focusing on packages, on group bookings, corporate bookings, and a couple of other special things in the system. Okay, I am going to stop the recording at this time.